So I wanted adventure. I wanted to see the world and meet beautiful foreign women who didn't speak English and thought American men were exotic and sexy. So my junior year of college, I applied to internships, externships, study abroad programs. I also made sure I was ready to travel. I got myself a passport, a bunch of vaccinations, specifically a buttload, literally, and most importantly, an Indiana Jones style hat. One day, the State Department calls me and asks if I would be interested in an unpaid internship at the US Embassy in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I said, I will take it. I hung up the phone and took off to the campus library to find out where in the hell Bangladesh was. A few months later, I'm in the airport at Kuala Lumpur, about to board my connecting flight to go to Bangladesh. An attractive flight attendant notices me. Maybe she noticed my sexy Indiana Jones style hat. Or maybe she noticed that I was absolutely the only person on that flight who was not a Bangladeshi migrant worker. She sauntered over to me and in a sultry voice said, "Sir, you're on the wrong flight. This plane is going to Bangladesh. You don't want to go to Bangladesh." "You are an American?" "Yes." "You want to go to Bangkok." I showed her my boarding pass and also my passport, which had a visa from the Bangladeshi government. She looked at these incredulously and then said, "These documents say you want to go to Bangladesh." "Sir, why do you want to go to Bangladesh?" This was the perfect introduction to my time in this country, because in a world overrun with Americans, Brits, Australians, Canadians, and Americans pretending to be Canadians, nobody goes to Bangladesh. My mere presence in public was enough to create confusion and excitement. People would literally come up to me on the street and say, "Why are you here?" "You know, we don't have any oil." We know that's very important to you people. I had done it. I had found the one spot in the world where Americans were exotic. Unfortunately, I was not enough of a rarity to appeal to Bangladeshi women. I soon learned there's a huge difference between being a sexy foreigner and being a doofus Ferengi in a silly hat. While I was there, I did meet a mysterious woman. She was an American, but what made her mysterious was she was the only American in Bangladesh who was not working for either the US government or an NGO. No, she was there because she was in prison. She had been arrested and charged of being a drug trafficker, and the embassy sent me to interview her. And within 30 seconds of meeting her, I knew she was guilty as hell. I asked, "So what were you doing in Bangladesh?" She looked me right in the eyes and said, "I'm a tourist." Knew she was lying. I got to do a variety of interesting things at the embassy because of one simple reason that only people in DC could understand. Bangladesh in the summertime is a freaking hellhole. It is the monsoon season, but despite near constant rain, the temperature is still able to exceed 100 degrees with about 100 to 200% humidity. Anybody in the embassy with at least 8 hours of annual leave is on vacation. We were so short-staffed that if just a few more people had called in sick over the 4th of July weekend, I probably would have been the acting ambassador. Or at least the deputy chief of mission. But I got to travel a lot, see a lot of the country, and meet a lot of really interesting Bangladeshis. I also got to meet two women, Sheikh Hasina and Begum Zia. These women were the heads of the two major political parties in Bangladesh, and they were both vying to be prime minister. Now, when I say this, people are like, oh, so it'd be just like if Sarah Palin was running against Hillary Clinton. And I said, yeah, if Sarah Palin ever kidnapped Chelsea and Hillary retaliated by having Wasilla, Alaska turned into a toxic waste dump. There was a little bit of bad blood between them. But that was pretty standard for Bangladesh politics, which had a long history of military coups, political assassinations, and rigged elections. But when I was there in 1996, it was going to be different. It was the first open and truly free elections in the country's history. And the whole country was very excited about this. And the embassy was supporting this effort by providing election monitors. Now, when you hear the term election monitor, you probably imagine a highly trained government official, maybe an academic, probably Jimmy Carter. What you do not imagine is a 21-year-old college student, armed only with a partially completed poli-sci degree, and an Indiana Jones-style hat. At this point in my life, I had only voted in one election. And I'm not proud of this, but that time, I voted for Ross Perot. I was 18. Hey, and if it wasn't for morons like me, Clinton might not have won. So, you're welcome, America. Because half the embassy's on leave, I was sent alone to a small village near the Bangladeshi rainforest near the Indian border with India. Now, fortunately for me, the usual issues that you might expect in an election in a third world country didn't happen. We didn't have problems such as ballot boxes suddenly being lost or stolen. Nobody had trouble understanding or filling out the ballots. Nobody tried to enter the polling places waving automatic weapons. I think this person already figured out that, yes, Bangladesh is about 30 years ahead of the state of Florida. Fortunately for me, the one problem I did have to deal with was the fact that my one job was to make sure everybody was the voting age 18, which is a little tricky because nobody in Bangladesh has photo ID, and outside of Dhaka, most people in Bangladesh do not have a birth certificate. That's right, these people didn't even know how old they were exactly. I developed my own scientific process, which was a variation on the Carnival classic, you must be this tall to ride the ride.